everybody. Welcome
Hello.
to the Macabre Podcast Unit. Oh, you know what? This is how I wanted to announce it. What's up, pitches?
This is the Macabre Podcast Universe. We exist to prove people wrong when they say sequels are never better than the originals. I'm Jordan.
I'm Micah, and we're talking to you little pitches.
About Pitch Perfect.
Yeah. And the reason I'm doing that is like, maybe
Because you think you're so funny and...
No, I mean the tagline of this movie was pitch slapped. And they use it as a pun a couple of times. So and the movie is kind of Mean Girls meets a
really annoying
Best in
thing.
Show. So would you not agree with that?
What do you mean by that?
Best in Show?
Yeah.
This movie to me is very much like if Christopher Guest directed Mean Girls. And
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way.
Yeah, I was actually going to be talking about that quite a bit.
Wow.
Actually. Yeah. I'm gonna be talking to all you little pitches out there. But yeah, we're talking Pitch Perfect, and before we even get into it, I gotta say something happened in the year 1998. Okay.
Well, acapella took the world by storm.
There was a group called Straight No Chaser,
Yeah.
and they were an acapella group.
They've performed at Brit.
Yeah, I've seen them at Brit.
Okay.
Unlike you, I'm not anti-acapella,
Okay.
but it is pretty. I think it's had
pretty
its day in
annoying.
court. You know what I mean? But in 1998, they recorded a comical version of the 12 Days of Christmas, which I think we've all heard.
Yeah.
You know, where they do the
I forgot to
Africa
open
thing
this.
in there. Go ahead and open it right on mic. No, on the mic. People want to hear it. Quick. No, up closer. There we go. Yes. What do you got there, Jordan? Tell us all about it.
I got bubbly orange cream. Big recommend.
I'm drinking it too. It is really good. Yeah, it's probably my favorite flavor.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a dessert sparkling water.
It is. I do like cranberry though. Or yeah.
Cranberry.
Don't we have
We
haven't
don't
we
have
had cranberry?
very off. Raspberry?
No, raspberry's not quite.
I don't
or
know if
maybe it is
Bubbly has
raspberry. It is
cranberry.
raspberry, I think. That one's really good. I'll have to look when we're at the store, but there's one that's like, because usually I like to sip them, but there's one where it's like I just want to drink it, like, and it kind of tastes like cola a little bit.
Oh, okay.
It's really good.
Yeah.
But I'm forgetting. I don't think it's raspberry, but it's in like a purple/red can. Cherry. That's the one.
Yeah,
the cherry bubbly
really
is
good.
so good.
Yeah.
Hopefully they have some when we go grocery shopping right after this. So in 1998, they recorded this video, 12 Days of Christmas, and in 2007, the video went viral.
Okay. A little late, but
Yeah.
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I guess there's hope for all of us. Things can go viral very late. And then that led to them going on tour, reuniting, and having a five album record deal.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
That was back when, like, if you had a viral video, you were like a famous person. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't really happen quite like that anymore.
No. And now we have pentatonics.
Yeah. And so that happens. And then what I wanted to point out as well, if I can find it, is in 2009, Glee comes on the air.
Yeah.
And that runs to 2015.
Yeah, it does.
And in 2009, another show called The Sing Off on NBC comes on the air, 2009 to 2014.
Is that a reality show?
Yeah, it was a contest.
Acapella contest?
I don't know if it was just acapella. Let me look that up while you vamp for me.
They were trying to capture their American Idol. Wait, what channel is this?
I believe it was NBC.
What was American Idol on?
It was Fox, and then it
Fox.
moved to ABC now, I think.
But at this time, it would still have been at Fox.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this was NBC, and it was acapella groups. Yeah.
Woof.
And so, but
Okay, wait. So
okay, no. Okay, go ahead.
isn't there a thing in How to with John Wilson where he was in an acapella group and they go to an event and it ended up being a Nexium thing?
Yes.
Wasn't that acapella?
I think it may have been.
Fascinating.
Very fascinating.
I forget what the episode was about, but
Yeah.
He was kind of saying like he was trying, to find a group to just be a part of.
Yeah, be a part of something.
And then he almost got brainwashed, scammed probably, but into NXIVM.
Yeah, well, I think he was like not on board ever.
No,
But
he wasn't.
Was in
but
an
like
event
he was
that
involved
was
in.
It was like they sponsored the event, and then oh, very weird.
Yeah.
So I think that this movie is like firmly in like acapella has kind of captured at least America. We're kind of obsessed with it. There are 2 different networks with acapella themed shows. One's not real. It's a drama, Glee, and then one is a reality show. And then Straight No Chaser, they're touring at Brit and stuff. They're hitting it big. People love acapella. The Pentatonics.
Andy from The Office.
Yes. Oh, yeah, he's doing it.
Here Comes Treble.
Here Comes Treble. So it kind of hits like a zenith where it's like this is like ultimate popularity at this point. And then Pitch Perfect, I think, really capitalizes on that and puts the like, this is as popular as this can ever be.
When did the book come out?
Okay, you want to talk about the book?
Spoiler alert to the listeners. When we finished this movie and the credits were rolling, it said based on the book Pitch Perfect. That's what it's called, the book?
Yeah.
We were so shocked that this is based on a book. How do you write a book about this?
So I'm glad you asked, Jordan, because yes, I wanted to talk about this. And I thought the best way to do it would be to grab an Amazon review from the book and read that Amazon review. So this is a person on Amazon for the book Pitch Perfect, The Quest for Collegiate Acapella Glory by Mickey Rapkin. That came out in 2008.
Right around this great time of acapella.
This is when it's, rising. So this person says this, and this is a little long, so bear with me. I am secretly obsessed with the movie Pitch Perfect, and I noticed in the credits that the film is based on the book by Mickey Rapkin. Even though I really like the movie, reading the book didn't seem incredibly appealing to me. Let's just say the format lends itself much better to the screen.
And ears?
What I discovered, though, is that the book is a serious exploration of the fascinating world subculture that is collegiate acapella. While the movie is essentially a satirical musical comedy, the book dives deep into the politics, personalities, history, and dynamics of the acapella scene at the college level.
No.
It's an interesting read about a complex world of which I was only passingly aware previously. It's a relatively light read, although the author approaches the subject as an investigative journalist would, dissecting the issue and presenting it in an engaging and informative way. It's not the feel-good experience that the movie is, but it's an enjoyable read nevertheless. Interestingly, while the movie is only loosely based on the book, it's obvious that the film's writers based certain characters in the movie on real-life individuals featured in the book.
Oh, this book is...
Or at least in part.
Is nonfiction?
It's nonfiction.
Oh, this
Overall,
makes
it's
more
worth
sense.
reading.
That makes a lot more sense to me.
And it is an actual journalist who wrote the book.
Okay, this makes more...
Now
I'm kind of interested.
Clicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was fiction, it's like, what are we doing? This is pretty weird.
Yes.
But that's like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's a period piece nonfiction book. And it was written by Mickey Rapkin, who was or is the senior editor at GQ magazine.
Okay.
And he spent a season covering competitive acapella.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
I'm a little relieved.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But it goes further than that, okay? Okay, I think that's kind of the bombshell, that it's based on a nonfiction book.
Yeah.
You could almost just stop there.
Yeah, it says based on, and that's the credit. Based on, not inspired by.
Yeah. So he followed the Tufts University Beelzebubs, which is the a cappella group.
That's their name?
And they inspired the Treblemakers in this movie.
That's their name?
They're the Beelzebubs, sometimes referred to as the Bubs.
Okay.
And then he also was covering the University of Oregon Divisi, who were loosely based on what the Bellas became.
Okay.
And the University of Virginia Hullabahoos, who have a cameo in the film. So here's, and now I'm going to go one more step, and then you can maybe take some stuff away here. The Beelzebubs, so they kind of inspire this whole thing in a way. They're part of.
So what? They're the bad boys of acapella.
They are the bad boys of
Oh my
acapella,
goodness.
and they've like toured and like they've like
Does
done
it work
done it.
in the same way as it did for college sports, where you have this this treble group is what I was going to say, this acapella group that's really popular and super successful, but are they not allowed to profit?
I
from
don't
it?
think that's the way, but I don't know. I couldn't possibly answer that question for you.
Wouldn't that be funny?
It would be kind of funny. Well, no, that would just
Well, it would suck.
be
That
one
would be
thing that
terrible,
sucks, too.
but it'd be funny.
But these guys, the Beelzebubs, they helped with arrangements on Glee. Many of the arrangements
Wow.
on Glee. So they worked on Glee, and then they were also on the show, The Sing-Off. So these guys are ever present in culture, as we all know. We're all fans of Beelzebub. Wait a second. I shouldn't say that. We like the Bubs, you know. They're kind of the bad boys. So that's I mean, that was
How
the
can it
big
be
stuff.
Bad boys of acapella.
Well, I don't know if they just made that for the movie.
Sure.
But I mean, I saw a picture and they kind of looked like they definitely dressed them to look like the guys in the real acapella group. So
I'm looking
anyway,
it up. How do you-
well,
I know how to. Well, no, I can spell Beelzebub. It's acapella.
what's
I'm
making
just-
you moan?
I'm just so annoyed by this culture. I am done looking at it. Okay, should I cover some actors?
Cover some actors and then I'll hit who made it.
Anna Kendrick.
Yeah.
Big movie for her.
Yeah.
I think for both you and me, big movie for us was 50-50 with her.
That was I knew who she was after that movie.
Yeah, me too. Although I'm kind of feeling there had to have been something else
There was
before that.
Up in the Air before this movie.
I've never seen. Is that the George Clooney movie?
Yeah, I saw part of it, and I don't know if it was I was too young to get it, or if it just was really that boring and sucked.
Was it about like the time when it was fun to be a stewardess, a flight attendant?
No, it's about a guy who gets hired by companies to fire people for them.
To fire? Oh, just fire people.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds. Did he direct it?
No, I think it's Jason Reitman.
Oh, okay.
Who
I
did
remember,
your favorite Juno?
Yeah. Actually for me, Anna Kendrick is Twilight.
She's in Twilight? I don't remember her in Twilight.
She's Jessica. She's
one of the friends.
Yeah, she's not a vampire.
Yeah.
Which means we've covered her, so I'm not going to waste any more time.
I think we got where we needed to get with
Yeah.
her, right?
Rebel Wilson plays Fat Amy. I think this is everyone's intro.
Well, she was in Bridesmaids, though.
Oh, she is in Bridesmaids.
Which I had forgotten.
Which is before this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the year before. Man, she's so funny in Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
She's so funny in this. She's also, so we've covered her because, oh no, we haven't covered Bridesmaids.
We've never covered Bridesmaids. What are you talking about?
Sorry. She's also in Senior Year, Jojo Rabbit, Cats, famously.
I forgot that she was in Jojo Rabbit.
I don't
and
remember
Cats.
who she is in Jojo Rabbit.
I think she was like one of the woman Nazis.
Oh, that's that. I'm seeing that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Brittany Snow plays Chloe. I did want to see. So I know that she's in Hairspray, which was big for me at the time. Oh, it might be for me, The Pacifier. She's in The Pacifier.
Okay, yeah.
A movie that cannot be watched again. It just simply cannot. But I did really like that movie as a kid.
Yep, I loved that movie. I think that was a rent and watch like 2 or 3 times before we returned it.
Yeah.
But I've since seen scenes from it, and oh my goodness, it is. You want to let that memory just live like it did.
Yes.
Because it's not.
I will not touch that.
It's not a
again.
Home Alone or something
No.
where it's also still good.
No one's talking about The Pacifier.
You know. And you know what? I'll hear like someone on Blank Check or something talk about it. And since they're a little bit older than us, they talk about it like, oh yeah, that trash movie that we all know is terrible. They have no nostalgia for it.
Yes.
So it is bad.
And she does.
There's a couple of funny jokes though. Can we admit that?
I actually don't really remember much.
I just remember Brad Garrett being very funny in that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is he?
I don't remember, but I think it's just there's a part at the end that I remember where he's in The Sound of Music, and he's playing a nun, and it's like supposed to be a big high note, and has a low voice, so he's like, "Bah."
Yeah, I do remember that. This is like whether or not the movie's good. This is just like a perfect plot for a kids movie.
Yeah.
Having recovered from wounds received in a field rescue operation, Navy SEAL Shane Wolf is handed a new assignment: protect the 5 plumber kids from enemies of their recently deceased father, a government scientist whose top secret experiment remains in the kids' house. A little convoluted,
Yeah. Oh,
but
no, that's a great.
so great.
And it worked for the kids,
It did work for the kids.
It all tricked us, except for you and me, into thinking that Fast and Furious was good.
There's probably a little bit of placebo, not placebo.
Why does Fast and Furious permeate every
placebo.
episode?
Subliminal stuff going on. Okay, but Brittany Snow also does voice acting in the Kingdom Hearts video games franchise. She is in Hairspray. She's in Prom Night.
She had her directorial debut premiere at South by Southwest in March of this year.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I don't know what it's called and didn't look it up.
I'm trying to see. Yeah, I mean, she's in a lot of other stuff beyond what I've said, but those are big things for me. I've always really liked Brittany Snow.
I think I've only maybe seen her in 2 things now that you mentioned off all of her stuff.
She's also does voice acting for Whisper of the Heart. I don't think we've seen that.
Yeah, we have.
We have?
That's the one with the cat in it.
Oh.
We saw that in theaters, actually.
Cool. Very cool. Okay. And then Anna Camp plays Aubrey, the one who's leading the group.
Okay.
Fellas. She's also in The Help, From Black, Unexpected, A Little Prayer, 5,000 Blankets, so on and so forth. I haven't really seen her in much else.
No.
Haley Steinfeld's in this movie?
What?
That can't be right.
No?
That's what IMDb's telling me right now.
What are you talking about?
Who's Emily in Pitch Perfect.
I'm on it.
That's just wrong. Esther Dean plays Cynthia Rose, another member of the Bellas. She's a Grammy-nominated songwriter. That's really cool.
Which person? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out this.
Esther Dean. She played Cynthia Rose, the one where they kept joking about if she was a lesbian or not the whole movie.
Okay.
She's also in Rio, Ice Age, Continental Drift, Quantum Leap.
No, she's in Pitch Perfect 2. Haley Steinfeld.
Well, I don't know why it's show me.
It says she portrays freshman Bella Newcomer Emily Junk in Pitch Perfect 2.
I clicked on the wrong one.
You did, Jordan.
Skylar Aston plays Jesse. He's in 21 and Over, Wreck-It Ralph. This is the love interest. Grey's Anatomy. Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist.
Yeah.
Ben Platt is in this movie, and I'm kind of impressed that you and I figured out who it was without having to
We're
look
not theater kids.
We're not theater people, but I think we both were just so like, this guy just looks a very certain way.
Yeah.
Could he be that guy that they put in
Dear
Evan Hansen the movie? Because he's in the Broadway show.
Yeah.
And he is so old looking. And then just a fun thing to do right now, if you can, anybody.
Yes.
Just look up Ben Platt and Dear Evan Hansen and just look at him on Broadway and him in the movie.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
So we need to talk about it for a second.
Yeah.
So, dear, can you look up how old Ben Platt is really quick? Because maybe some of our listeners were not aware of this phenomenon.
He is as old as us.
Okay, so...
How does he look that old in the movie? How does he look like an old man in the movie? Seriously.
He does look like an old man.
He is as old as us.
Yeah.
Are we old?
No. So, did he make or no, he just the actor in it. He didn't write it.
I don't know.
Yeah. So okay. So Ben Platt starred in this musical and got a lot of acclaim, and it premiered in 2015. So if he's our age, that's 3 years out of high school. That makes sense.
Wild.
You can pull that off.
Wild.
But then they did make a movie, and it was years later. And what they tried to do is they wanted to appease the fans. And sometimes you got to appease the fans, but sometimes you can't do that. You got to make Luke Skywalker turn his back on the Jedi because you got to make a more interesting choice. And they decided not to do the more interesting choice.
Yeah.
So This movie came out in 2021, and they said, hey, guys, don't even worry about it. We got Ben Platt in the starring role. But if it's in 2021, they probably shot it in 2020.
Yeah.
So by that point, I mean, well out of high school, well out of college. And he looks older than Tobey Maguire in the original Spider-Man.
Yes, he does.
Like, much older.
I think because I feel like he's wearing a wig, and I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But it feels like he's wearing a wig in the movie, and it's something about it, like his makeup and stuff, makes him look super old.
And when I saw, like, the trailer, because I was like, I got to see what everyone's talking about here.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, like, oh, this is like this poor actor who's trying to come up. He's never going to get another role. I didn't even know it was the same guy because it was just like, oh, this is like a really bad production. And the movie, I mean, it gets the COVID blanket because it's November 2021. But I mean, movies are getting back, and it made $28 million on a $19 million budget. Ugh. So they're not making Dear Evan Hansen 2. Let's put it that way.
Oh my gosh, that's very strange.
Yeah. Sometimes when something is so off and everyone just knows it, it just feels like such a relief that we can all unify behind this is a bad decision that someone made. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Also, this movie is Adam Devine.
Yeah, the movie is Adam Devine.
He is in Workaholics.
Yes.
Isn't it romantic? Green Eggs and Ham, I guess. Righteous Gemstones. Big recommend from me on that one if you haven't made it there yet. Jexy and Modern Family and so much. He's always a treat and a delight to the senses when he's in anything. He had a lot of Jack Black energy for me in this movie. A lot
of Blackjack.
And that was awesome.
Or Jack Black. Not Blackjack, that's the game.
And then Utkarsh Budkar is also in this. He's like the other guy in the I almost said the Beelzebubs, but whatever the group is called.
He's like the other main guy who has like earrings and stuff.
He is in Free Guys, Blind Spotting, Brittany Runs a Marathon, and others. And then, I mean, that's about it. I don't have to cover like every single person.
Yeah.
In this, but yeah.
We do get Elizabeth Banks, which is great.
Yeah.
And then I'm forgetting the other guy's name.
I'll find it.
John Michael Higgins. Michael John Higgins. And they are pretty great in this movie. They get to do the Fred Willard part in Best in Show.
John Michael Higgins,
okay. And John Michael Higgins is in Christopher Guest movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is, he might also be who's the commentator in Best in Show?
Well, it's Fred Willard, and I think in Best in Show, it might be him.
No. Yeah, this guy is partners with, and I can't remember the other actor, but he's partners with another person.
Yeah.
I can't remember what dog they have, but he has a dog that's going to be in the show.
Yeah,
that's right.
Man, Best in Show is such a funny movie. Okay, so the movie is directed by Jason Moore, who did the I think it was Amy Poehler and Tina Fey movie Sisters. I know Amy Poehler's in it, but
he also did that. You're saying?
Yeah,
and they're sisters.
That's what the movie's called, Sisters.
Okay.
And he did a movie called Shotgun Wedding. The screenplay is by Kay Cannon. She did 30 Rock and New Girl. The cinematography is by Julio Macat, who did Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, Home Alone 3, Cats and Dogs, and Daddy's Home, to name a few. The music is by Christopher Beck, who did The Muppets, Muppets Most Wanted, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and Shazam 2. We've talked about him quite a bit this year. Another person on music is Mark Killian, who did Wall Street, the Mark Wahlberg show that's out.
Okay.
Where Mark Wahlberg is like concerned that there's a TV in the break room. Have you heard about that?
What?
So
this is a reality show.
This is a reality show, and it was during the pandemic, and he's going around to his businesses. I don't even remember what he owns.
He owns Wahlburgers.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that because they have the show Wahlburgers. So
that's true.
It's some business. It's probably fitness related or whatever. And he goes goes into a break room. I've not watched this. This is what I've been reported. He goes into a break room and sees a TV, and he's like, "This shouldn't be here. This is going to distract people from their jobs."
It's a break room, though.
Yeah. And it's also just like classic rich person who doesn't have to do anything, like seeing just a shred of dignity for us fellow man down here at the bottom. And they're like, we should take that away so they're more productive, right? So another notch against the old Wahlberger.
People don't like him anymore, right?
Well, I think people who don't know that in the 90s he blinded a man for a hate crime because the man was I don't remember where he was from, but he blinded him and beat him up so bad that the guy is blind to this day. I think most of the time when you tell someone that, it's kind of hard to be like, yeah, he's a fun-loving good guy. Yeah. And hey, I believe in forgiveness. I believe in redemption. I believe in hope. But it's tough to be like, yeah, we should keep giving this guy roles who blinded someone. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little tough. There's a conversation there for sure. I don't know the answers because, again, I believe in hope for people, but, that's tough. But I do think he might, if he's not careful, he's going to start getting into the, like, rock zone because it really feels like, I know that we talk about it a lot on this podcast, but I feel like everybody's kind of like, I'm kind of over the rock. And I feel like Mark Wahlberg could get into that zone if he's not careful. No. If he's not careful. Yeah. But he's huge with Catholics. He's on the Hallowed app. You can pray with him and stuff like that.
Huh?
Yeah.
Is that his app?
It's I don't know whose app it is, but you can do like guided prayers with Mark Wahlberg and stuff.
It's gonna sound so like kind of bad and weird, but I think because of like including Mel Gibson, they will always be in favor with people with our parents, like with that generation.
Well, and I mean, again, I that's part of my faith is forgiveness and redemption and stuff, and so if that is truly what's happening, that's great.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like if you ever hear about like hey, great example, like the Mars Hill Church, right? Where it's like this pastor was like verbally abusing all these people and
doing weird stuff with money.
Yeah. And then it's like sometimes the Christian response is, yeah, let's just forgive him. It's fine. And it's like, yeah, but we got to hold him accountable because we can't let him do this to all these people again, and sometimes Christianity can get in that cycle of like kind of just letting usually men of power get away with stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a slippery slope, So
let's talk about Pitch Perfect.
what happened. But yeah, this movie came out August 5th, 2012 on a $17 million budget. And
That's it?
Yeah, it's a huge hit.
Wow.
Makes 65 in the US and it makes 115 worldwide.
Awesome.
Yeah, the movie's a damn hit. Yeah.
Well, get on that Hallowed app.
You're not going to see me on the Hallowed app. Hey, so the movie begins, right?
Oh, we're there.
So I'm a fan of this.
Wait, when did you see this movie for the first time? We didn't talk about that.
Oh, yeah. So I see this movie and I'm thinking, I'm fresh out of high school. And I'm like, I watch films these days. I watch movies like...
I've discovered the top 250 on IMDb.
Yeah, I like a little movie called Shawshank Redemption. That's the kind of thing.
I'm
Bringing
twisted.
that...
My favorite movie is Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a little weird to you guys, but I've seen the movie Memento, okay? So I'm like, I'm getting my boots muddy, if you know what I mean. I'm going down into the depths, and I'm like learning about movies and stuff. And this movie comes out, and it's like, another studio comedy. Oh, brother. Little did I know that the genre would die in the next 10 years, and I would be desperate for any studio comedy to be released in theaters.
Burp got on there.
Oh, good. So didn't see it, and then I was at a friend's house, and he had a bunch of people over, and this movie was on. And I don't know who put it in or whatever, but it was on.
You don't know who's responsible?
Yeah, I think it was like, because it was a friend that you could just kind of go in and out of their house anytime.
Yeah.
So I just kind of show up, and I think the movie had already been playing, and I kind of sit there, and I'm kind of thinking like, whatever, and I'm like, this is pretty funny. and then like another scene would go on, and I'm going, so I wound up watching probably 50 to 60% of the movie, and I was like, this is a funny movie. Like that's pretty good. And then I never revisited it. I never watched it. Never saw the other two. And
now here we are, and you've seen it.
And now I've seen it. Yes. What about you, my love?
I think.
Yeah, we're married.
I think that. I remember, like, when this movie was coming out, I was like, I don't watch movies like that about girls being in love.
Well,
and
you were
singing.
watching movies like The Seventh Seal, Seven Samurai, Lahane,
3 movies I've not seen.
Breathless, Jean-Luc Godard, you were watching these types of films.
Oui. Chef's Kiss. So when this movie was coming out, it was just so much like, I'm so uninterested. That is so dumb and everything. And I'm sure my friends saw it and were like, it's really funny. And it's like, it can't be. It's not Rushmore.
Yeah. Or you're kind of weird and twisted. So you like, the most populous filmmaker alive. You were like, I like The Dark Knight, actually. And Batman
that Joker,
Begins.
He's the funny one.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the situation was my mom and my sister wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
And it was a Friday or Saturday night, and it was like, we got this from Blockbuster. Let's just watch it. And it's like, fine, whatever. And it was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah. So did it live in your brain as like, that's a good movie, or?
It's a fine movie, and I still feel that way.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't like acapella, Micah.
Yeah.
It is really annoying to me, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. Sometimes when you watch musicals or something, this doesn't happen to me often, really, but sometimes when you're watching a musical or an a cappella thing, when the people are performing, there's something about it that makes me feel embarrassed for them.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
And I know other people feel that way. I'm not alone. And this movie, I feel embarrassed.
Well, I think the thing that a cappella can really get into is when you are covering pop songs and when you're covering rock songs, you are, I don't know how to quite put it, but you're basically taking something that is steeped in like an entire decades and decades of how those things are performed.
Yeah.
So like when you go to a rock show, there's an expectation, even if you've never seen the band.
Yeah.
And when you see people who are really good at singing all together in suits or however they're dressed, and they're doing a rock song, and there's no, for example, the instrument that makes rock music, guitar, and no drums. And when they're screaming, it's like perfectly in pitch and sounds really nice. It's like that's antithetical to what rock is.
Yeah.
So it feels embarrassing because they're like, come on, we're rocking out. And they're like, la da 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 da. And a lot of vibrato and stuff.
Yeah.
And so,
oh my gosh, I can't handle it.
and pop music, I think it actually translates a little better to pop music because pop music is, especially in live performances, very like, look at me, I'm going to perform and show you something you've not seen before.
Sure.
But even that, it's like pop music is also steeped in like a lot of sexuality and stuff. And seeing, people come out and be like, I am sexy and I know it. It's a little like, not really, So I think that's why inherently it can be embarrassing.
Yeah.
But
it is.
Having said that, I think it can be a lot of fun. And
But then there's also the component of it's annoying.
It can be annoying.
No,
it can
it
be
is.
annoying.
It is annoying.
I am not anti-acapella. I think it can be very cool.
I'm not saying it's not impressive.
Part of it is
it doesn't take talent to be really good at it. Like any art form, it is an art form.
Yeah.
It is not an art form for me. It is a mental barrier that I cannot get across because I am embarrassed by it and just simply annoyed by it. It just feels like people are showing off. Look what I can do with my mouth while I stand here and snap my fingers.
Well, and the other element is it is seeing a cover band.
Yeah.
Because if you're not covering a song, it's choir.
Yeah.
And
don't get me started on choir.
Whoa, you're anti-choir? Yeah, so I think it is inherently silly. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember, but I saw a Straight No Chaser, And I feel like they are very aware of that fact. So I had a great time at that show.
Okay.
You wouldn't like it.
No.
But
don't take me.
No, I didn't ask.
Yeah, I know.
But I think that's why. So
Yeah.
that's why it's goofy. Now, here's why I think the movie goes from like fine, like you said, to really good. It's not quite great, I don't think, but it's really good. I think this movie's really, really good. And it is because they are playing that aspect of the movie up
That
quite
it
a
is
bit.
silly.
Yes, very much
Yeah.
so. And this is when I get into my Christopher Guest of it all.
Okay.
So Christopher Guest, for those who don't know, he directed a bunch of movies. I believe they're all mockumentaries, except maybe one. And
he's done This Is Spinal Tap, Best in Show.
Rob Reiner did This Is Spinal Tap.
Okay, but that's a Christopher Guest thing.
Yes.
Big Christopher Guest
stars
thing.
in it, writer.
You're right, I forget about that. But yeah, it's a Night Before Christmas Tim Burton situation.
Yeah. So anyway, he's done a lot of those movies that have that mockumentary style and kind of developed it, maybe perfected it. And so when this movie begins, you have it's an a cappella competition. By the way, they do the Universal logo with an a cappella version, which I more movies need to do.
Yeah, it's fun when they do stuff like that.
Yeah, like Scott Pilgrim has the like 8-bit of, I think it's Universal again, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so they're there, and you have Elizabeth Smart and John Michael Higgins, Elizabeth Banks. And John, is Elizabeth Smart the person who got kidnapped like years and years ago?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, I think that was someone who was kidnapped for like over a decade and then was found and stuff. And I think.
Wow. I don't know.
I think.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Listeners, call in. So they are commentating on the event, and they're saying, very sardonic, hilarious things, but they're very into it. And this is when I was like, oh, this is like a modern Christopher Guest movie. And I feel like the whole movie has that satirical edge to it and bite that is like, yes, the movie does like a cappella. It's not like anti-acapella. It's
okay.
not.
True.
It's not like a satire that Chris McKay would make.
Okay.
Or Adam McKay. I'm sorry. Really messing up the names today. Adam McKay, where it's like, I'm gonna do Vice and show you how much all these people suck satirically. This one is like, no, we like this, but it's pretty goofy.
Yeah.
And so you have commentators at an event, which that's hilarious right off the bat. But then they're calling it like a sports event.
We were asking ourselves, who are they commentating for? This is a listening based competition.
Yeah.
Why do we need commentators?
And there's also an implication.
And there's a host. There's someone there running it.
There's an implication that they used to do a cappella.
There is. I think they've said that.
So there's kind of a jealousy, but they get to say things, like, oh, it's the bad boys. They're back. Like, the troublemakers are here. Thank goodness. Oh, the Bellas are on. They're going to do their same thing. And so they get to provide that, like, breaking of the fourth wall that a mockumentary typically does.
Yeah.
But, of course, Christopher Guest movies break the fourth wall and they have commentators. And I just feel like the whole competitive part of this movie was very Christopher Guest-esque. Specifically Best in Show. It reminded me of that movie.
Yeah.
And so that to me was like, that's why I think this movie's really, really good, is because of that element.
Okay.
Now, on top of that, I do think there's a fun Mean Girls element to this movie. And like a high school, well, it is college, but it's, coming of age movie. And so to me, it's Mean Girls directed by Christopher Guest.
Okay. Interesting.
What do you think of that take?
I like it.
You really?
Yeah.
Tell me more about how you like it.
I don't think the Christopher Guest thing goes very far for me, but
yeah.
I never thought of the Mean Girls element too, but that also makes sense. It's fine. It's a fine movie.
I think it's good. I think you're shortchanging it, Jordan.
Okay, maybe I am.
And the reason you're shortchanging it is because of two names. Adam Devine, baby. The guy kills it in this movie.
Oh, of course. He's
right
so
off
funny.
the bat, coming onto the stage, just dancing like a fool and being crazy. And he is like the again, he's like a Christopher Guest character where he is actually he's playing it like he is not in on the joke, but his character truly believes that this is cool. That he is cool because he can sing these songs. And he's so not cool.
Yeah. Well, I like that they point out that they can't get girls.
Yeah.
But they act like they can because they're so popular. That's a very funny touch.
And then they set up right at the beginning when the Bellas come out that it's so crazy because it's an all-lady group.
Yeah.
Because no one can hit a bass note, so they always don't sound that full.
Yeah. That's such a funny note.
Yeah.
And while doing their performance, they all look like flight attendants, and they're singing just a very old, like an old, tired song. So they're just very boring and traditional. And then Becca barfs.
Yes.
Projectile vomits.
And that's when I'm like, oh, this movie's not taking itself that seriously.
Yeah.
We got projectile vomit, you know. But then we're introduced to Anna Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes to college. She's clearly a DJ.
Cool. She wears a lot of eyeliner.
Yep.
And a lot, like big combat boots.
She seems like someone who maybe her parents don't quite understand. And I'm teeing up to tell a very embarrassing story about myself.
Okay.
That I could only do in the private ears of our listeners.
Okay.
And I don't even know if you know this story, but it's embarrassing. So
you went to college?
I went to college for 14 years.
Whoa.
No. Anna shows up. And then Jesse, is that the character's name or the actor's name?
Yeah. No, it's the character's name.
He pulls up and he looks at her and he's like, he's doing Carry On My Wayward Son and like kind of says hello. He thinks he's so cool while he's doing it.
You've done this to a girl.
Not quite.
Oh, okay.
But pretty dang close.
What happened?
So there was a point when I got into Metallica. And I was in high school.
You got into Metallica in high school?
Yeah, I believe I was a senior in high school.
Did I know that?
Or maybe a
I
junior.
thought you never were on board with them.
Actually, maybe a sophomore. I was, and then I quickly got off and was like, I hate them. And then I watched.
And then you saw the documentary. And they're like the best band ever.
No, they're not the best band, but I really respect. I have a lot of respect for Metallica.
Whatever, blow past it.
I don't really like the music.
Yeah,
but they had this song on one of their albums. It had like a coffin on the front. I think it's called Death Magnet was the album. Okay. I think. And then the song, I can't remember you know what? I have to look up what the song is called because it's important to know.
You said you're a senior in high school?
I think I actually may have been a sophomore or junior.
Okay.
Because I think by senior year I'm in Scions and I'm definitely like, oh, Metallica
I'm into Coldplay now.
Yeah, that's when I got into Coldplay. Yeah, so, okay, let's see. What are the... Oh, but this album came out in 2011.
Junior.
Oh, no, it came out in 2008, so it could be any time. Okay, so let's look at the track listing. It was a song... yes, a song called All Nightmare Long. Now, this song is embarrassing. To put it into reference, it is a 7-minute and 58-second song.
Okay.
And I learned how to play the guitar on this song.
Wow.
By ear.
Wow.
Learned it all. I was proud of myself. And we were over at Hello Taylor Brown. We were at your house. And I believe Davis was there and maybe Jake.
You made them all listen to you play
and
it.
Maybe Anna was there.
Yeah.
It's so much worse than that.
What?
I stood up. I can't even believe.
You did the air guitar to it. I think you have told me this.
I played the song and I was like, I know how to play this. And I air guitared the entire song, all 8 minutes in front of them, just sitting there like kind of bored, like what's going on.
That is so embarrassing, Micah.
Is that not like that is like one of the worst musical things I've ever done in my life?
Yeah.
And I think
did you at any point of those 8 minutes did you think they're not into this?
I don't know.
I'm starting to feel ashamed.
I don't know what I thought because I don't think I thought it was all that weird.
Well, you are kind of a weird person, though, Micah. You were kind of like, sure, hey, I think this is cool. Surely everyone else is going to think this is cool, too.
Yeah. So, Taylor, please tell me, you can tell me now, and you can be honest, what in the world did you think when that happened? Because that's crazy. And it's so long.
Yeah. That's not good.
And I think there were a couple. You know what? I vaguely remember someone being like, "Okay, we kind of get it," and then me being like, "No, there's another part coming up." But I would imagine maybe I was playing it off like this is a bit that I'm doing.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
But
like because you're Micah and you're like, I can still spin this toward now I'm a funny person.
Yeah,
if this isn't impressing them.
Yeah, so pretty bad.
Wow.
And that's only one of 2 embarrassing stories that are going to be happening on this podcast.
What's the other one?
It was what happened while we watched a movie.
Okay.
I think I listed when that happened. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. I can't say I've ever done anything like that.
No.
I think I have too much shame in my life
to
think that I could get away with that.
You could call me oh no, I'm forgetting the expression. Not someone who's in and only wants to be around themselves, but someone who's out.
Extrovert?
That's the word.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Anna's walking around and she's like,
she wants to be a DJ and a music producer. All she wants to do is get her butt in LA, get her feet and toes in that sand.
Yeah.
To pursue music. College is a waste of time. But we find out Daddy is a professor at the college. So she has a full ride. And I don't know if they actually say that, but he's like,
he does say it's free, so
good for her, goody.
Yeah.
So her dad's making her go to college because believes education is important, and he will allow her. He will help her get to LA to pursue her dream, but she's got to go to college first.
Yeah,
that's the deal. And we find out that her parents are divorced and she has a terrible relationship with the stepmom and kind of a weird relationship with her dad. But she also kind of seems like I'm 18 or 19 and like
everybody's out to get me.
I don't care about anything. So this is her lot in life right now.
Yeah. And it is kind of smart screenwriting. It's economical to have her set up as a DJ because then when she wants to mash up the songs, it's like, yeah, I get it. She's been doing this her whole life, basically.
Yeah. And then Jesse, his roommate is Ben Platt, who is really into Star Wars and really into close-up magic. That was funny.
He's pretty funny.
He is funny in this movie. A thing to know, I mentioned this in the 22 Jump Street Patreon.
Which is coming out next month. Yes.
You can cut that if you don't want.
No, you guys should sign up for Patreon. It's patreon.com/Micah McCaw. You're going to get extra episodes. And this month it's 21 Jump Street. Next month it's 22 Jump Street. Go.
And that I get into because that's a college movie and this is a college movie, how they represent college. Yeah. It was fun to watch both of these movies so close together because this movie, I think, does a terrible job of showing.
Says the private school college girl.
It was not. It was not wonderful, and by any means, it was very still run of the mill classic college dorm. So when she was settling into her dorm and unpacking and stuff, and we're seeing the dorm, it is a very small room. It is, but it is so unrelatable. They have built-in shelves.
Yeah,
I couldn't understand where they put their clothes. Like I don't know where they would have room to do that, and then. She had the biggest desk. She had a corner desk. And I just don't know how you could fit that in a room. Yeah. In a dorm room. And maybe there are some colleges where this is a thing.
Nah, probably
not. But
I
just think most of them for a freshman dorm.
Do you think businesses that beg their alumni to give them money after they've already graduated and given them thousands of dollars can afford to have shelves in the walls?
I would think not.
I don't think so.
So just a funny note.
Yeah. So we
don't see anyone ever go to class, do we? I know that's not part of the movie, but we're never in a classroom at any point in this movie.
No.
Okay. I just am now thinking about that.
Yeah. The more you know.
The closest thing we get to seeing someone get an education is when she does her internship with the college radio.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the closest.
Do you want to talk about that?
We can.
Or should we talk about the fair? Because the fair is the next scene. So then there's the fair, join all the clubs. And this is pretty funny because the treble makers are doing a performance and Ben Platt is like, oh my gosh, these guys are gods,
So
basically.
he's really into Star Wars, really into close-up magic,
And really
he's
into
really into
acapella.
acapella.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Yeah. And then basically he goes up to them and they're like, "Wow, you're so weird that I can't be around you. I need to like wash off your weirdness." And then Jesse has a great voice, so
They like him.
yeah.
It makes no sense to me that, and this is I know it's a joke, so this is why
Yeah.
I think it's funny. But when Ben Platt is talking about how much he loves him and everything, and they think he's so weird, it's like, you guys should probably be clamoring for anybody
Yeah.
to be super into you. And then like he ends up, auditioning and being really good.
Yeah.
But he definitely doesn't get in because he's a nerd.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think you guys need him on your team.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Bellas are trying to recruit, and they want to make it this year. They really want to do it.
They lost like most of their people from last year.
Yeah.
Because of the incident and because I think a lot of people graduated. So it's Brittany Snow and the other girl, Becca.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just such a funny joke where they try to get that one girl, like, hey, we're doing auditions. And they've tried, like, this girl's auditioned in the past.
Yeah.
And she's like, you guys really think that I'm going to audition for you again after you said that I have baloney boobs? And then she shows, like, her like, thin tanked. It is so funny.
It's a great bit.
It's so funny. But she's like, there's no way I would ever try and join you guys, especially after what happened last year.
Yeah. And then Anna or Fat Amy is like, "Ooh, I'm into this."
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, "Crap," like because the Becca wants these, like blonde, blue-eyed, like everybody's a beauty and they have a beautiful voice. So she sees Fat Amy and she's like, "No way, no way." She doesn't understand inner beauty or outer beauty for that matter. And so then Anna comes up and she's like, "Ooh, you should join. You're a hottie." And then she's like, "No, I might be a hottie, but it's because I don't get close to people.
I don't give an F."
Yeah, my parents were divorced, okay? So, she walks away, but then she meets her dad later, and he's like, "You're not even trying at school. I will let you go to LA, and I will pay for it if you try a club." Wow, the movie set up. There we go.
Get involved in an organization.
Yeah. And she had said to Brittany Snow, like, I don't know how to sing.
Yeah.
Cut to showers.
Yeah.
And she's singing Titanium by David Guetta.
And then Brittany Snow opens up the curtain and is like, "Oh my gosh, are you singing Titanium by I forget who it is."
So she's like, yeah. David Guetta.
By David Guetta? You know that song, Titanium?
No, that's what Anna says. She's like, "You know that song?"
Yeah.
And we're like,
I knew about that song.
This
at that
song
time.
was
and I did not listen to the radio.
This song.
Yeah.
So you can't pretend like it's some B-side from the Shins or something like that.
No.
Pretty good pull there, huh?
Sure.
So she knows that she can sing. Then they do a cappella tryouts.
Uh-huh.
And this is a funny bit. There's great bits in this, They're all going through. I'm not going to try to explain the bits. Good stuff. As far as the filmmaking goes, it's, it works. There's nothing really to write home about, but that's kind of what you need in this.
Oh, yeah.
Then Anna comes up and she's like, "I didn't know we had to do a song, so I'm just going to do this song." She sits down and grabs a cup, and she does the cup song. Jordan, take it away.
And that's when I said, girls across the nation, when they saw this, were like, I have to learn the cup song.
This thing swept the nation like it was Straight No Chaser in 1998 doing 12 Days of Christmas. I'll tell you what.
Before this podcast?
Am I firing on all cylinders?
Did you do some improv games?
Thank you. I'll take that. So this scene's happening, and it's like, I remember seeing this scene before seeing the movie, and in any context, like it was like floating around Facebook
and you
or
were
something like that.
Me like Anna Kendrick.
No, maybe. Yeah, probably. But it was 50-50 that got me into Anna Kendrick.
50-50.
And so then they're like, "Oh my gosh, that was incredible. She was able to flip that cup up and down and keep time." And so,
and her voice good.
And you know what I think this spurned? something else in culture, which was the cup stacking. Do you remember this craze?
Yes,
that
I
happened?
do remember that. But that I remember more from like middle school.
Yeah,
Because I
but
feel like that was a PE thing.
it was a PE thing, but remember there was like competitive cup
Yes.
stacking, and I think that part of this movie being as popular as it was, like skyrocketed cup stacking
Probably.
in popularity.
This is a time capsule in ways I did not think it would
Yeah.
be.
No, this is like when our kids watch it, they'll be like, whoa, you got to give us background on like 8 things right
and
now.
that's something, man, I'm sure every parent feels this. You know, like your parent has to explain something to you from their teenage years or something. And they're like, oh, it was this really cool thing. They're explaining it. And you're like, that's lame because you did not live through that. And it's lame to you. This, I think, is lame. Thought it was lame then.
So you're saying you're as cool as our kids?
No, I'm not saying that doesn't make me cool at all. I just don't know. I don't think this movie has anything like cool. Because of my opinion not being a narc.
Yeah.
Other people will have a different opinion and they will think that's
Are you
cool.
a narc? Are you a cop?
No. It's just.
You have to tell me if you're a
It's
cop.
an interesting time capsule that doesn't represent me.
Yeah.
That's probably what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So that's like this is not what you're saying, but at the time of recording, Beau is Afraid came out, and there was this pretty famous tweet where this guy was like, and this happens every once in a while, and it's just so stupid, where he's like, Beau is Afraid, I can see why people like it, but there was absolutely nothing that pertained to my life and nothing that was in my experience. So I think the movie is bad, and I don't think people should watch it unless you have that ultra specific experience. And
that's a tweet that comes up every now and then.
Well, someone like
someone will say
someone
something
tweeted
like
that, and someone will say something like that about some movie where it's like, this is so unrelatable, it's that therefore it is bad.
Yeah.
And it's just like, have you seen a movie?
Yeah.
Like, I also didn't, like, my dad wasn't Darth Vader, and I related to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, people have no literacy.
I'm not saying that about this.
No, I know you're not.
But that is funny.
It just reminded me of that because it's like, I was never in an a cappella group, and I get it.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how art works.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to be like, this directly applies to me exactly all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't fly to space, and I really like Interstellar.
Living life in a tunnel.
Yeah. There's just always, every once in a while, there's a discourse that comes up where you just go, how do these people live? And what do they watch? Do they only watch like breakdown videos of movies and not watch movies or something?
There's probably computers tweeting that.
Huh?
And they want to feel something. And they're actually, those tweets are them reaching out.
Oh, now I feel bad.
Back.
Now I feel bad.
Yeah.
Back to the movie. So, then they have their initiation and they get in the group.
Okay.
We're introduced to the quiet girl.
Yeah.
Who talks very quiet.
Oh, is that what she does? Is that her thing?
And yeah, she has this great scene where
she had this line, and Micah said, "The movie's not getting better than that. That was it.
There's
true. Not a better joke."
Because I don't remember what she says before this, but she says something. Oh yeah, she says.
She asks like,
no. I remember.
Okay.
She goes, because they're like, we can't repeat what happened last year, and she goes, what happened last year? And then
people like don't.
They're like, what did you say? And she's like, and do you want to see a dead body? That's so good. And I mean, I'm always a fan of that. So throughout the movie, it'll cut to her and she will say something like that.
Yeah.
Love that. That's such a great bit.
I light small fires to feel joy. Yeah. And that guy he heard her, he's like, that's really cute.
Yeah. Now, here was something that we also needed to talk about time capsule wise.
Oh, okay.
And that is nostalgia of music and nostalgia in general.
Yeah.
Because when this movie is going, these are songs that played in high school all the time that they are covering.
Yeah.
And they are songs that I vehemently hated.
Yeah.
And thought were basically attacks on American ideas and American cultures.
Oh, okay.
And the Christian nation. No, I'm kidding. These were just songs that I thought, as a musician, I was like, these are an affront to me. I hate this music. Not all the music in this, but a lot of the songs. Watching it now, when I would hear something like, higher than a mother effer, starships are meant to fly. Yeah. I'm messing up the melody, but I was like, I was like, oh, this song's so great. Is how I felt.
Really?
Even
because
though
of nostalgia?
because of nostalgia. Because the song I don't think is good.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, this and you were like, that's what nostalgia does. It's like it takes you back to a simpler time.
Yeah.
And so I'm hearing these songs that I heard when I was young, and I'm like, oh, this is a good song. It's not a good song. That's a terrible song. But anyway.
I agree with that. I didn't in high school I exclusively listened to Escape the Fate,
My Chemical Romance,
Foo Fighters, and more than anything just MCR. So I didn't have a wide range of things I did not want to.
Right.
So I also did not like these songs in high school.
Did you feel that they took you back in any way? Or
no, they did. They do make me feel nostalgic too. I totally agree with what you're saying. It did remind me so when I first got an iPod, which maybe it was middle school. And I remember one of the first songs. Do you remember like one of the first songs you ever put on your iPod?
I don't know if I do, actually.
I remember one of the first songs I ever put on my iPod was Shake It. I don't know if that's what the name of the song is, by Akon.
Is that the Shake Your Money, Make It Like Somebody About to Pay You?
No, it's like...
you on my radar.
No, it's not that one. But it's just so... It's such a terrible song. And it's like... It's such a gross song.
It's hilarious imagining you being like, I'm going to put a rap song on my phone.
Or
iPod.
That being one of the first songs I got downloaded off iTunes.
Yeah. I remember buying Snap Your Fingers.
What's that?
By Lil Jon. Snap your fingers to yourself. You can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that song and I was like, this is crazy. I love this. Yeah. Yeah, I love that song. But then once I got more into high school, I was like, I'm listening to real music, like Bach and Mozart and Beethoven, and watching movies by John Godard and Akira Kurosawa. I don't have time for this stuff.
Yeah. You're annoying.
So speaking of nostalgia, they have this big party with all the people who've made it into a cappella. And then later they're like, hey, Bellas, you can't be with the troublemakers. Mm-hmm. And you better watch yourself, Anna, because you have a toner, which is a musical boner. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a good bit. And then we find out that Brittany Snow, and this is when I remember seeing this scene at Jake's house, and it was...
How dramatic it was very funny to you?
It was so dramatic where she's like, I have nodes.
And everyone's like...
And she's like, I have nodes. And of course, nodes are actually a pretty serious thing.
Yeah.
But the way that they present it and stuff, and this again is a very Christopher Guest kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Like bring
That's
in
true.
something like that, and then having at the end of the movie, because of the nodes and the surgery, she's able to hit low notes. That is a very Christopher Guest element to this movie. You know what? I think the only thing that would make this movie this would take the movie from good to great is if there was a character played by Parker Posey in this movie, and then it would be like, okay, we're full on, we're there.
Yeah.
So she's like,
do you remember
I'm
at
living with nodes.
Those last Oscars, the most recent ones, when they kept cutting to Jamie Lee, and us and our friends every time were like, oh my gosh, I forgot she was married to Christopher Guest.
Yeah, I don't think our friends knew who that guy was, but you and I
Someone
were saying,
said, that was
Trevin and Alicia, but I don't think our other friends have any idea who Christopher Guest is.
I bet that they've seen some of his movies.
Well, they have. I shouldn't say that. I apologize, friends. Because I know that the Phelps love Best in Show.
Yeah.
I was being a little, I just don't have time for.
Okay, let's move forward.
So here's another thing. I'm not sure that Jesse and Anna have chemistry.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think I agree with that. It's just, I don't know. I just don't really care what happens to them.
It felt kind of bogged whenever they were getting
But maybe part of that is because her character doesn't want to get close to anyone.
Yeah.
So they were flirting, but it was very on the surface.
Right.
I think, so like his thing is he wants to be a movie composer, film composer. And he throws out all of these classic movies with wonderful film scores and finds out that she's never seen any of them because movies are so boring. But then he shows her, she never makes it to the end.
Yeah.
And And then she said something that that I've heard from just a lot of people throughout my life that always irks me when people say this.
Yeah.
But she said, like, it's just movies are just predictable. You can just, it's like this
Oh
guy
my
falls in love with the
gosh.
girl, the person did this, we don't even know. And it always irks me when someone, it's like, what did you think of this movie? Or even like anything you consume, like a book or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I thought I knew it the whole time. Or it was like, I was really trying to figure out what was happening here. And I totally
Yeah.
knew it. It was so predictable, or it wasn't predictable. And it's like, you base your enjoyment on a thing on if you can predict what's going to happen or not. You just don't let it happen to you.
Yeah, that drives me bonkers.
Drives me crazy.
It's such
because it's going in with such a limited view. And
it is going in with a view of like, I value the plot above everything else.
Yeah.
That is what you value. You value character A goes to location A and does B.
Yeah.
Like that's what you value in a movie, which is like you're not letting you're not letting like story and character and just like the mood that the movie is setting, you're not letting that happen. And you're not enjoying the journey to get there.
Yes.
And that really irks me. The only movies where it makes sense are like whodunits and
course,
stuff, where a mystery is built in,
out.
where it's like, yeah,
they're inviting you to try and figure it out.
That's part of what it is. But if you're sitting there watching Pitch Perfect and you're like, that was predictable, it's like, yeah. I also knew exactly how the movie was going to end before it started. I was interested in the journey and the characters. That drives me nuts.
But anyway, so he, as they're spending some time together and bonding.
Yeah, he does say not liking movies is like not liking puppies, which I love, and I definitely attest to. He kind of, in all those scenes where he's talking about movies, I was like, gosh, am I this annoying to people?
I don't know. But he shows her the end of The Breakfast Club to try and show her how.
And not like the last 20 minutes. He shows her
the last scene. Yeah.
Where he, does the fist pump.
Yeah.
Which we, call in for this. We were talking about what is the best freeze frame ending of a movie.
Yeah, because that one rocks.
And that is incredibly iconic. And I proposed potentially Rocky is maybe more.
And that is a good one too.
But there is something poetic about, Rocky goes forward. Breakfast Club, he freezes in this moment that he has in his life.
Because it is such a microscopic view on that time in life.
You know what? I think the freeze frame in Breakfast Club is better. Because it thematic, like the freeze frame in Rocky is just like, look, that's interesting. But this is like, if only time could stop here, because this is as good as life gets. Like this is it.
Wow, I just got goosebumps for Judd.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's the Breakfast Club. We've just done the case. But I couldn't think of many others.
Me neither.
If you have one, write in.
Not any good ones.
Yeah, you can find us at 409 South Hollywood Street in Hollywood, California. We've moved offices. But then they have to ship it to us. It's so annoying.
Just text Micah like you always do.
So then they go to the semifinals.
The regionals.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Insert
regionals.
Community joke.
Yeah. Oh, do you need me to?
Yeah. It's a great joke.
Oh, we go to regionals, and then we go to semi-regionals, and then we go to quarter regionals, and then we go to semi-semifinals, and then we go to semifinals. This is your life now. This is who we are.
If you have never seen the Community Christmas Glee episode
with Taran Killam,
I even if you don't watch the show, I would recommend watching it. It is so hilarious. It is so hilarious. So they go to the finals, and it's so great when the Troublemakers go, because Elizabeth Banks says, "The bad boys of acapella just got badder." And I think she directs the next movie, which is interesting.
Right. Yeah.
She's a producer on this one, so I mean she's part of it. But she has, if we ever had like a blank check style show, I would absolutely want to cover her filmography.
Yeah, she's interesting.
She has a very strange filmography. I mean, she did Cocaine Bear this year.
Yeah.
Like, who is she? What is she like? What stories does she want to tell?
Well, one about a bear ingesting a lot of cocaine.
And what about Pitch Perfect 2? Okay, so then afterward, the boys like win the final, or like
but the girls make it through the next round too.
Yeah, and there are old acapella group.
That was so
out
funny.
and that's that's another like Christopher Guest kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like just
You're right.
It's just a little bit unrealistic, but in a way that kind of satirizes everything.
Absolutely.
And I
so
just
they're like
love
selling
it.
CDs of them.
Yeah.
And you got I don't recognize two of them, but the other two are the guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine
I forget
and the
his
guy
name.
from Scrubs.
And I forget his name too.
Yeah, so probably wasn't even worth saying that. But they're just probably allowed to do a little bit of acapella outside this event to hopefully make some money on their CDs that just have to be terrible.
Yeah.
And then Adam Devine, who is so high and mighty and full of himself, is egging them on.
Yeah.
And they try to get into a fight. Well, they try to get into a fight.
Yeah.
Because the older guys want to get into a fight, but Adam Devine is a wimp and doesn't really want to. And then Anna Kendrick starts the fight. I think she punches first.
I think so.
To try, and oh my gosh, the guy that's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he was so funny. He's like, "Please hit me. I need to feel something." He keeps getting hit. And he's like, "Please hit me again."
I know, it's weird. It's a little gross.
Really weird.
And then like the trophy breaks a window.
Uh-huh.
Like it flies off and breaks a window, and then she's arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, now her dad is very upset with her, and he's like, "You're not going to LA now."
Uh-huh.
And she's like, "Are you going to at least listen to my side of the story?" And he's like, "Nope, I'm a good dad."
Yeah.
Classic romantic comedy move.
Yeah.
And again, I felt like this scene, yes, it's like, oh, it's sad that she's there, but it felt like the movie was pretty aware of how cheesy this whole thing. I mean, there were old acapella people fighting regular acapella people.
Mm-hmm.
And it resulted in someone being arrested.
Yeah.
And that's why I think this movie is like is better than fine. You know what I mean? Like those details. It's like the movie knows what it is doing and how ridiculous all of this is. It's based on a nonfiction book. How could it not be good? And so then I don't think they actually did make it into the finals.
They did because it's like they're like runner up.
No, but they were runner-up, but then they found out that someone in the other group was a high schooler.
Listen, Micah, for the regionals, I'm pretty sure they made it to the next round. And then in the semifinals...
Oh, you're right. It's the next one. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So are we there?
Yeah, we're going there, and we're going to pick up some gas.
Oh, so they're on their way. That's this one. And their Rebel is driving their bus and is getting gas, and the... troublemakers are driving by and throw a burrito at her. And then
I've been shot.
She never got the gas. So they run out of gas and have to get the troublemakers to give them a ride to the event.
Funny.
Yeah. And then at this event, there's this.
And by the way, this whole time Anna keeps being like, we shouldn't just do the same thing. People get bored when we play. Let's mix it up. Let's do something else.
Yeah.
That's her whole struggle the whole time is like, let's do something else.
And everyone seems to agree with her, but Becca being the leader is so like, it has to be tradition.
Yeah. And we did forget to mention there's a sing-off in this movie.
What do they call it? A riff-off?
No, they call it a sing-off, I thought.
I thought it was a riff-off.
Oh. And that's pretty hilarious because it is like they're in a location that's like, maybe an alternate for Michael Jackson's Beat It video. And
they're in a dry pool.
That's what it is.
A dry, like Olympic-sized swimming pool.
Yeah.
Which means the acoustics are going to be out of this world.
That's true. You will get some great acoustics in there. And so they're singing and stuff, and they go back and forth.
That one I got really uncomfortable because of the rapping.
Yeah.
Like I felt so embarrassed.
When she rapped, that was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. Yeah. And just imagining like this movie made 165 million worldwide. A lot of people saw her rap. That's gotta feel weird.
And I didn't quite understand how the rules worked for this game.
No, I didn't either. But
whatever.
Because it was like one person like couldn't remember the lyrics, and so they're like, "You're out." And then Anna Kendrick's going for a while, and no one's joining in on her team, and she kind of stops, and then she just keeps rapping, and they don't stop.
But then
he's like, you said the it word.
Oh yeah, they said a certain word, like you didn't get it.
Yeah.
You didn't win. And it's like, what is this stupid game?
Well, and I mean they did say like I didn't know that was a rule, so they didn't know either. But now we're at the semifinals, right?
I think so.
Okay. And then this is when there's like this is they do, like, she does a mashup in the final. She sings
in the semifinals.
another song. Yeah.
I don't know why it's so hard.
It is hard.
But yeah, she out of nowhere does a mashup,
Because
and
everyone's like falling asleep during their set.
yeah, and really pisses Becca off, and they kick her off the team.
Yeah.
But then Ben Platt, who so this is also something that I thought was like funny. They had to travel by bus to get here.
Uh-huh.
So this is a while away. And Ben Platt is like working as a tech person at this event.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's just funny because it's like, wouldn't this venue already have its people?
Right.
And that's so like, it's nothing against the movie. It was just
you
like
got to read the book
because we needed him to be.
You got to read the book.
He could discover that one of the people on the other team was still in high school, making their team ineligible.
Yeah.
Therefore, the Bellas got to go through to the finals.
Yeah. And then this is like the romantic comedy low point, that happens in comedies and romantic comedies.
It's really not that bad, though. You're talking
about
between her and Jesse, because it's not so much what's not said; it's how they're treating each other. It's how she treats him. So it works. It's fine.
Yeah. No, but it just always bogs down. It's very few movies that you're not like, ugh, we have to do this part.
But it's during spring break. When this all happens, and Brittany Snow gets surgery for her nodes. Anna Kendrick watches Breakfast Club and feels something.
Why did they like break up though?
Because she was a jerk to him. She was so mean.
Okay.
And then she also, though, because she's no longer part of the Bellas, she's for spring break gets to be a DJ at night for the radio. So it's like, well, she's still going to get what she wants.
Yeah.
But over spring break discovers that she really loved this group and these people.
Yeah.
And
she's
wants to be
disappointed.
part of it.
And then something happens in our home while we're watching the movie.
Okay.
Now we have a large window. And we like to leave it open as long as we can and just let it soak in the light. I'll never understand people who have windows and just block them up because I like that light in. It makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. And it's dark at this point, and we haven't shut them all the way. Our dog likes to look out the window, too.
Likes to look out.
And I turn... And do you want to describe the story?
I'm just watching the movie, minding my own business, and then I hear Micah yell, "Holy shit!" And then I look over at the window... And there is a gray pit bull right up against the window, and him and Gilmore are staring at each other silently. It was like a ghost.
Yeah, snout to snout at the window, though. It was
so scary. I don't understand how neither dog barked.
It was genuinely so scary. And I don't think that I'm usually one to swear when I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Or am I?
I don't think so.
So when you told me afterward that I said that, I was like, really? I did? But I was so scared. And then you can keep going.
And then so there's this dog loose. I had a collar, and I was trying to go outside to try and get the dog, and Micah wouldn't let me because it's a pit bull.
And it's dark. And you know what?
It's dark, but
you know what else though? I was like, you're pregnant. If the dog attacks you, this is really bad.
It didn't even show any hostility to our own dog.
I know.
So I couldn't get outside in time because I didn't get permission from my husband to do so.
Oh.
But yeah, by the time I did get outside, the dog was gone. And I hope it got back to its owner.
Yeah. But we have these owners on the street who the dog gets out every couple months.
Not this dog.
No.
I mean, this probably is their dog. Let's be honest.
But they have more and more dogs. And so when I saw it, I was like, it's got to be their dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a cute dog.
It was a very cute dog. I should have just let it go. Let you go after him right away. But I was just worried. And it was dark. And I was like, who's the owner? Is the owner around? I
get it.
My mind went to only bad scenarios.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it had to do with it was just like 9:00 at night.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want you going outside. What's going to happen? So that happened. We shut the curtains.
So that really made us pause the movie for a while.
And then we have your favorite part of the movie.
Oh yeah, so it's like getting up to the finals, and all the dudes at the Treblemakers are hanging out in their like house, which has a hot tub indoors,
Yeah.
which is crazy. And They say something to Adam Devine.
They're all in the hot tub.
They're all
too.
in the hot tub too.
Another
It's
great
a big
touch.
hot tub. And Adam Devine is like, well, losers, I'm out of here. I just got hired to be one of John Mayer's backup singers.
Yeah.
So I don't care about any of you. I don't care about this anymore. I'm going to LA.
Yep.
And starting my life. And that is such a funny joke.
It's a great bit.
That he's throwing up. I mean, obviously that's a big deal for anybody. But he is so like, I'm the best person in the world. I'm going to be a backup singer for John Mayer.
Yeah.
And John Mayer's such a funny too. Yeah.
And then the Bellas are practicing,
Mm-hmm.
and she pukes again,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a big fight. The silent girl does a snow angel in the puke, which was a little tough to look at. And she says, "I ate my twin in the womb," quietly at one point. And then, I have another embarrassing story coming up. I just saw my notes. So I've had two already.
There's a third?
There's a third one, and I don't know if you know this one.
Did you get kicked out of your a cappella group and you had to crawl your way back?
No, we're almost there. We'll get to it.
So Anna Kendrick comes back and is like, guys, I love you. Sorry for how I was. Please let me back in. And it's really up to Becca because she's the control freak.
Yeah.
And isn't going to. And then at the last second is like, okay, we do need you. And we do need to loosen up.
Yeah.
Let's all get to know each other a little bit more. And that's when they have the share circle.
Yeah. And they get to know each other more,
Mm-hmm.
and then things are going good, and they practice a couple of cooler songs that are mashups.
Mm-hmm.
They instantly get them. They pull a Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, of course.
In this type of movie, that doesn't bother me at all.
No.
You know?
No.
So, and then they go to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's someone who's playing, or no. I think it shows the bad boys of acapella. The Troublemakers first.
Yeah.
And they do a great
They
performance.
show like their whole set.
Yeah. And then the Bellas come on, and it's like, what are they going to do this time? It's boring. And they come on and they start singing that song. It's not about the money. Mm-hmm. You know that song?
Mm-hmm.
Now here's where my embarrassing story comes into play.
Okay.
And I'm none too proud of this. So when I was pretty young, again, high school age, I got hired to play like a guy's like outdoor barbecue or something like that. And so I was getting paid. I was going to do that. First of all, I went there and I got my one and only ticket. So like the show canceled itself out, which really upset me.
Oh, that sucks for speeding.
Yeah. So I went there to check out the venue, the house, and then I drove home and I was speeding, which I didn't realize. I mean, that's usually how speeding goes, but I got pulled over. Got a ticket, and that was like the cost of me getting paid. And I hadn't even played the show yet.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was I had a bottled root beer in my cup holder.
Oh,
and
no. Did the cop ask you about it?
No, he didn't. But when he was checking my registration, okay, this is a fourth embarrassing story.
So this is you, Mike. This is what you did. This is just root beer.
That's what I did. I stuck my head out the window and looked at him.
My God.
And I said, officer, I just want you to know that this is a root beer.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So
you're so guilty.
And he was like, oh yeah, okay. I actually thought that
Were
would
you trying to do the Dumb and Dumber thing with him? You wanted him to drink it?
I actually thought that would be charming enough too, that he would be like, I'm not gonna get this kid a ticket. You know, he's a good kid. You know, but he gave me a ticket. He was a jerk. And so then. I go and I play the gig that I was supposed to play, and I had worked up a version of this song, and I played
of this song that they were singing
the Money song.
Wow!
And I played it, and I'm very embarrassed by that fact.
I don't really remember the song, so
it's kind of like it's not totally reggae, but it has that kind of white Rasta reggae feel a little bit.
Okay.
I actually don't know if the I don't know. It has that feel. It doesn't feel like true reggae. Mm-hmm. I guess I should say. I don't know anything about the band. Mm-hmm. Now, having said all that, I played it, and it was like mostly adults, but there's a lot of kids there too. And I looked at kids my age, and they like perked up, and they looked at me, and it was a look of like, oh brother.
Oh no.
So that's my other one.
Did you know these people?
No.
Oh, okay. Does that make it a little bit better?
I never played it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You knew right away.
And I forgot it was it was a mashup of Pink Floyd's Money and this song. So I'd go bow, 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 and I would solo for a long time. And then I turned it into this song and sang. Pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Wow.
I'm not proud of it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of bad artistic moments here.
We all have them. You got to have them.
You got to have them. So, yeah, this has been a real raking Mike over the coals episode, brought to you by myself. So they do an epic performance. And then while they're playing, they mash it up with "Don't You Forget About Me." And Jesse lifts up his hand and does the thing. I think that's a great moment, actually. And then obviously they get back together. They say, and the winner is hard cut to tryouts next year.
And the girls have they say the people who get to pick the audition song are the people who won the championship last year. And then it cuts to the Bellas and they have the trophy.
And I think that that's a clever way to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of like dragging it
this
out.
movie ends so quickly. I love it.
Yeah. The only change I'd make though is one, we don't hear what song she has them sing. Because doesn't she say like, "Oh," and then it cuts?
Yeah, what do we need to know?
I want to know what song. Now
we gotta watch Pitch Perfect 2 to find out.
it starts immediately right at that moment, just like Harold and Kumar 2. So
have you seen that?
Yeah, and it's like immediately after the first movie, which is always so fascinating when a sequel does that. It's always like, "Whoa, we're doing it." Anyway, it should have ended on a freeze frame though, right?
Yeah, that would have been thematically better. Yeah.
Because they make they don't mention the freeze frame, but they talk about Breakfast Club so much, and
I guess if they didn't talk about it though,
I think they should have, because then people it would have been subconscious, but people like us would have watched it. We'd have been like, complete. Yes. So that's Pitch Perfect. I really like it. I think it's a fun movie.
It is a fun movie.
And then next week it's Pitch Perfect 2.
I don't think I've seen it. Or I have? I can't remember.
And on Patreon, it's 21 Jump Street. We already talked about that.
Yeah. Well, we talked about 22.
Do you know how many episodes we have left until we're off maternity leave?
12.
Less.
Nice. How much?
After this episode, we have 10 left, including recording Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and Fast X.
Oh.
So we only have 8 more main regular episodes.
Got it.
And we've recorded all our Patreon.
Very cool.
And then we can go on maternity leave.
Very, very cool.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank
Bye.
you.